Hello friends! Today I want to show you how to draft a basic bodice and sleeve pattern for your dolls. I'll be using this Frozen Anna doll, but I'll talk about a couple of differences for dolls with removable hands too. First, like with the pants pattern, cover your doll in cling film and then use small pieces of masking tape to cover half of the doll's upper body. Make sure to try and get the shape of her bust. This will help to get the bodice to fit closely. Draw a line down the centre front, neckline, waistline, centre back, side seam and shoulder seam. I use a tiny pair of sewing scissors to cut the non-masking taped side of the cling film, then I can just slide the pattern off the doll. Cut along all the lines that we just drew, trim the cling film to make it easier to draw around later. The front piece is 3D because of the shape of the bust. To be able to make it flat, we need to make a cut up to the high point of the bust. You can do this from any point, and I want to talk about this in a future video. Today I'm going to cut up from the waistline to the high point of the bust, which will later give us something similar to a princess seam. Using the masking tape pattern pieces, flatten them as best you can and then draw around them. I'm using pink paper and I'm going to refer to this colour. Cut out the pink pattern pieces. Then I'm going to draw around the pink pattern pieces onto purple. The purple will be the base of my final pattern. Keep hold of the pink pattern pieces that we just drew around though. They'll be useful for future projects. I like to draw around the curves, but I just draw points for the straight lines. I draw the straight lines in with a ruler. Where we cut on the masking tape piece of the front pattern will become a dart. To make sure I remember this, I draw in a broken line rather than a solid straight line. I'm lowering the armhole here a little, by a couple of millimeters, or maybe 1/8 of an inch. This is because when we made the masking tape pattern, we made it very close to the doll's arm. This means that if we don't lower it, and just put the sleeves in it as it is, when we move the doll, we might get some wrinkling across the top of the doll's chest. I'm working around the armhole with my ruler to get a rough idea of the size. You can do this with a flexible measuring tape if you have one to hand. Now I'm going to start drafting the sleeve pattern. It's a little difficult, so I'm going to show you what I did using these illustrations. This is Frankie Stein. We need some measurements from the doll. Using a measuring tape, measure around the upper arm. If the doll has removable hands, then measure the wrist. But if, like my Anna doll or like a Barbie doll, the hands are fixed, measure around the wide point of the hand. Then measure from the shoulder tip where you would attach the sleeve down to the wrist. Make a note of the measurement of the armhole as well here. I've colour-coded the diagram here of how we will draw in the pattern. First, draw a horizontal line with the measurement of the upper arm. Sketch a semicircle, checking that it's about the same size of the measurement of the armhole. It's better to be a little bit bigger than smaller here. Through the middle of the line that we just drew, and from the highest point of the semicircle, draw a straight vertical line using the measurement we took from the shoulder point to the wrist. At the bottom of this line, draw a horizontal line using the wrist measurement, trying to set the line with half of the measurement on each side. Using a ruler, draw in the final 2 lines connecting the upper arm line to the wrist lines. It sounds a bit confusing, but hopefully you found that kind of clear. I'm going to show you my draft now. When I was measuring Anna's hand, I couldn't find my measuring tape, so I just used a piece of paper and then took the measurement from that. I sew with a 5mm, that's around 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, so I'm adding that all around my pattern pieces, except on the centre front where we will cut in the fold. At the centre back, I'm doubling the seam allowance so that I'll have plenty of room to put in a closure later. I'm using a fabric with a clear front and back to make this easier to see. I'm using my tiny scissors to punch a hole to the dart point, and then I'm clipping little notches so that it's easier to mark those points. A friend of mine had an issue with the instruction cut on the fold. I'll show you what that means now. Fold your fabric over so that your pattern piece will fit. Here, the centre front line that has no seam allowance needs to be placed on the fold line. I'm drawing around the pattern, marking the darts, and then cutting it out. I need to mark the darts on the other side, so I'm flipping the pattern piece, lining it up with the edges of the fabric, and then marking those points again. On the back side of the fabric, I'm drawing 2 sleeve pieces. I need 2 back pieces. I draw around the pattern once right side up, then make sure to flip it over and draw around it again to make sure that I have a left and a right back piece. I'm using fray check to go around the front bodice piece since I've already cut it out, but the other pieces I'm using glue to draw around the pieces. Then once that's dry, I cut the pieces out. To put the top together, I'm first sewing the shoulder seams, then I add the sleeve pieces. Usually I would sew the darts before even sewing the shoulder seams, but this time I forgot, so I'm doing it now. Then I sew the entire seam and sleeve in one go. There's a different way to add sleeves which I'll show you in a future video. To make the top fit properly, you need to clip the seam allowance around the sleeve. Do it slowly and carefully. I use my tiny scissors again. Turn the top right sides out and then check the fit. I hope you found this video useful and easy enough to understand. If you have some particular requests on types of tops or types of sleeves that you'd want to see, please let me know and I'll make sure to make a video on that. Give me a like if you found this video useful, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, tips, tricks, give me a comment or get in touch. Subscribe for more videos and I'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye!